The soothing wind of the jovial breeze hearkens this hermit to the land of trees, where roots grow deep and leaves rustle in peace, lies his home amidst the blissful creek. Hello and welcome to an important update video for Reaper of Souls. With patch 2.1 just around the corner, this video aims to aid every monk player that wishes to play in the new patch. So if you wish to make the most out of the game and get ahead, listen carefully. So let's cover the basics of the patch first. Monks will be receiving a major change in 2.1. For starters, your dexterity will now grant you 1 armor per point than dodge chance. Your life per spirit spent will too be buffed, and all the items and skills will be changed retroactively. The same applies for your life on hit and life regen. For dashing strike monks, good news. Cooldown reduction will now affect the recharge time of the skill. Have you been missing builds that include spirit generators? Well, now the attack speed and spirit generation of your generators has been buffed. Every single spirit spender you possess has this damage buffed by quite a lot, and other supplementary skills like sweeping wind and tempest rush will deal more damage as well. But what if you're a fan of two-handers? Well, in that case, rejoice. The base damage of all two-handed weapons, including your Diablos, has been buffed anywhere from 25 to 30%, and this effect will too be retroactive, meaning hold on to those items you possess now, they will get an automatic buff in 2.1. All these changes should and they do mean something. We shall talk about all of that later, but for now, let's go over some item changes for Monk. As mentioned above, you should hold on to your two-handers. This means your Flow of Eternity will be great, and so will your Incense Torch. Your existing sets will also be very crucial in 2.1. This includes all sets, but mainly the Sun Wukong set and to most extent your Raiment of the Thousand Storms too. But what about the other item changes? Come 2.1, Depth Diggers you own will allow your spirit generators to deal anywhere from 80 to 100% extra damage. The new Mad Stone will be epic too. It will let you apply an exploding palm to every target that has been struck by a 7-sided strike. Leoric's Crown on the other hand will double the effect of a gem in your helm. So say hello to more cooldown reduction. New and improved Crudus Boot will let you have 2 Mystic allies active, and your Gyana Kashu will deal more DPS. A final mention is to the new Hellfire Amulet. That amulet will grant you a free 5th passive, giving your monk the extra edge needed. But hey, all this info is something you can find out on the forums. So what this hermit can offer you is insight into these changes that will help your monk to play the highest difficulties. So let's start with some in-depth analysis. Let's address the first big issue for monks, their squishiness. The new change of Dex to Armor means monks can now stand toe-to-toe with Crusaders on the highest of difficulties. The newly redesigned Mantra of Salvation, some of your active and passive skills can grant you dodge. So on top of being tanky, you can still be elusive, and when you times that with the Enos set and life per spirit spent, monks will no longer be squishy at all. So now that this issue has been addressed, let's talk about the biggest issue for monks, dealing damage. With changes to the damage of spirit spenders and two-handed DPS buffs, one way for monk to play on greater rifts will be the two-handed build that will either include a bell spam build or a full cooldown reduction 7-sided strike build. But hey, leave that to my humble self and I'll share the builds with you in the future. Nonetheless, your two-handed builds will include the Monkey King set, and thanks to the buff it received, monks will be versatile again. There is of course the other side to this, and that is dual wielding. Your spirit generators will have their attack speed modified for the first and second hits. This means that not only will you hit harder thanks to the legendaries, but you will generate more spirit and will have chance to create a full spirit generator build. Buff to the Shenlong set is one decent example where left click builds will make a welcome comeback. So this means that every aspect of monk is improving. So what can you do before 2.1 launches? Here is my humble recommendation. Your first priority as a monk should be to farm for Sun Wukong set. But this should include the amulet too, as the spirit stone should not be Sun Wukong, as your helm slot is very important and must be kept free for other builds. The next course of action then should be to farm for Diablos with high weapon and weapon percentage damage. A socket, believe it or not, must not be on your item. The reason for this is due to the addition of new legendary consumable that adds a 5th primary to your weapon in form of a socket. So if you do possess a weapon with a rerolled socket, roll it back to another stat to make the most out of the item at hand. This of course does too apply to your one-handers. You should also try to finish your Raiment 5 piece with the exception of Helm, as the slot should be filled with Eye of the Storm for full dashing strike Raiment build. A final note would be to try and get your jewelry with sockets, as in your amulet and both rings should have a socket, so you can socket legendary gems into it that are way more beneficial than a measly 6 crit chance or 50 crit damage. So many things to do, so many changes to make, but all for the bright future of Monk. This has been the Holy Hermit for you. Take care of yourself and remember to search for forgotten souls, for one must be lost in the sea if one wishes to cherish the forgotten shores.